Well, good afternoon, everybody. I hope everyone's had a good lunch break. I had a very good lunch break, not something that I'm normally used to. So let me start with a little bit about myself. There's a trailer that I recently watched. It's called Accidental Prime Minister. Are you guys familiar with it? Yes. My story is something like that. What you see here is an accidental CTO. I had never planned to be, never aspired to be, never thought that that is something that I want to do, be a CTO of an organization. It just happened. But while it happened, and along the way when it happened, I picked up a lot of lessons, a lot of experiences, and today what I'm sharing with you are some of those which has helped shape me, shape my career, and what I'm able to do today for an organization which is spanning 5 different countries. So let me start with this. I'm a mechanical engineer, as you heard. I was a big believer in something that you can manufacture, that can produce, but that you can touch. So needless to say, I hated software engineers, because that was a time way back in 1996, software was just coming to the fore in India, and people were like, oh, that's going to be the next big wave, it's going to transform. I didn't believe in it. I was like hardcore mechanical, believed in automobiles, believed in making something that you can touch. And I was ridiculed by all my colleagues and stuff. You won't believe it, I did not have an email ID till the 4th year of my engineering. I refused to have it. When we graduated, one of my friends signed me up on rediffmail.com. I think that's still around. I don't know if it's still around. And said, if you do not have an email ID, you will not be able to apply. You'll have to send your resumes. It'll come in your email. I was like, no, I'm not going to do it. So he did it for me. Very strangely, I got an interview request from a company called as Neilsoft. That was my first interview ever. It is into engineering outsourcing. And what they did was they did a bunch of projects for companies in US, in Europe and stuff. So I went into this interview, and that guy asked me all sorts of questions, nothing related to software. He asked me how did I handle difficult situations. He asked me about what experiences that I had in my college, what was the project that I had as the last year project and stuff. It was very interesting and engaging conversations. And then suddenly, abruptly, he asked me, when can you join? I was taken aback. I was thinking, what is happening here? Am I really going to go into a software engineering firm? And I said, I just need to go down, find an STD booth, call my dad that I've got a job and I'll be back here. And just like that, he gave me the offer letter. Spot on. Now, with no experience in software engineering, and this is a really, really funny story. The first day that I went, I was assigned a buddy. It's called a buddy system. Somebody's there to take you around and stuff. And he took me to my desk. There was this old, now we have those flat screens and stuff. We used to have those CRT monitors and the keyboard, and he said, lock your computer, let's go down. And you won't believe it, the computer is in front of me, and I'm thinking, how do I lock this thing? What do I do with it? I looked around for a couple of minutes, frankly not knowing what locking a computer means, and I just accompanied him downstairs to tea, coffee, whatever it is. I think he sensed a little bit of hesitation from my side, and he started to doubt, did we hire the right person? After the tea break, when I came up, he said, so my mentor came in, my technical lead came in, and he was like, why don't you set up this test harness? Now, for those of you who are not familiar with software, a test harness is basically a set of software programs. It's just a software program that you need to set up. Like how you would install a software, you need to set up a test harness. Now, anybody who is slightly familiar with automotive or mechanical industry would know that harness is actually electrical systems inside an automobile. And like an idiot, I got onto my knees, went under the table and started fiddling with the cables. It's okay, you guys can laugh, it's perfectly fine. And this guy was so shocked. He was like, what are you doing? And I said, you said set up the harness, I'm checking the cables. He said, oh my God, come up here. And he took me into a room while the technical lead was around, and he said, what are you doing? I said, I don't know anything about software. Then the technical lead walked in, the guy who hired me, right? He slowly started explaining few things about what is software development, what you should do and what you should not do. Why am I telling you this story? The reason why I'm telling you this story is you can start anywhere and you can get anywhere where you want to, or even where you don't want to, but there are few key ingredients to get there, to be able to reach certain situation, certain place where you can make a difference, not just to yourself, not just to an organization, but to people around you, and solve real world problems. So what are those things that worked with me from that day where I was on my knees fiddling with the cables of a computer system to today where I'm able to lead a team of 60 people across 4 different geographies and build products that is sold in 6 to 7 different countries, impacting 25 million users on a daily basis. What are those lessons? First and foremost, get yourself a mentor. Now, we have this in our tradition, in our culture, we have this thing called as guru, right? Get a guru. You cannot imagine the importance of getting the right mentor. Now, where can you get a mentor? Can anybody tell me where you can get a mentor? Any suggestions of where you can go and get a mentor? You guys in college, mentor is something that you should by default have. Where can you get a mentor? First row.
Anywhere.
Where's anywhere?
When we are working or where we are staying, we can get a mentor anywhere who's having. So the place where we are working or we are studying, we can get a mentor anywhere, sir.
Right. So your immediate surroundings is one place. Where else? Can somebody tell me one more tangible location where you can get a really good mentor?
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Shivam and I'm from Indore. Say now parents.
Parents, yes. So your immediate family, again, surroundings. Where else? Has anybody heard of LinkedIn career guidance? Some of us or some of you might have also got requests from other people asking for career advice. There are multiple places where you can go and literally ask and seek for a specific mentor. I'm telling you the single most thing that all of you will do to benefit your careers and your skill set is to get a mentor. You guys are here studying every day hard to get a degree, right? To get that qualification. Getting a mentor is equally important. And keep trying to find that mentor. And when you find that mentor, your statement should be, I want you to be my mentor. It's not about, I come to you for advice, I come to you for information. No, it's about, I want you to be my mentor. I'm going to schedule a monthly one-on-one with you for 15 minutes or half an hour or 1 hour, where I will come prepared with a set of questions or agenda, or I'll send it to you beforehand, and I need your advice on that. It is extremely important. This one hack in your life will change a lot in the way you go ahead. I'm telling you this as a advice, but I was lucky enough to get a mentor. The technical lead who I was reporting to is probably the craziest guy I have ever met. He took everything as a challenge. He practically made your career development his primary goal, primary objective, and that's how he treated me. Pretty much everything that I've done today in the way I have approached a situation or handled people is what I learned from him. So I was lucky enough, fortunate enough, but that's something that I can tell you. This is something probably that is the most relevant for everybody who's here. Okay? Has anybody heard the monkey story? Monkey and the hot water? Anyone? Okay. This is how it goes. This is a real experiment. Can you guys hear me? Yeah. Okay, so this is a real experiment conducted by scientists. Okay, what they did is they took 5 monkeys or 7 monkeys, they put them in a room, they put a ladder in the middle of a room, and they hung bananas at the top. Okay, now monkeys love bananas, so they all started to run up the ladder to grab a piece. The minute they went up the ladder, the scientists sprayed the room with hot water, boiling hot water. So basically they were creating a stimuli and a response, right? Monkeys are running up the ladder, hot water, monkeys come down. They did this for 31 days. Now on the first day of the next month, you can imagine what happens. No matter how hungry a monkey is, if he tries to attempt to go first, either he will stop himself or the other monkeys were pulling him down. Okay, so now the response was built that you climb the ladder, people will pull you down, other monkeys will pull you down. On the second day of the second month, they stopped spraying the water. Still the same, because now monkeys were conditioned to pull the other monkey out, because nobody wanted to risk being sprayed with hot water, right? Now here's the beautiful thing. On the third day, they took one monkey out and put a completely new monkey who was never exposed to the hot water. Okay. Now when that monkey saw the bananas, he tried to run up the ladder. Other monkeys pulled him down. And they kept doing this till they replaced all the monkeys with fresh monkeys who had never been sprayed with water. The other thing that really helped me is solving problems. Now what do I mean by solving problems? Let's say you graduate from here, get really great jobs, right? And you're given a task. When you enter workforce, you'll understand that KPIs, key performance indicators, or KRAs, key result areas, your manager will give them to you, your boss will give them to you. And you may do the best at solving those problems, right? Not good enough. Reach out and solve somebody else's problems. So early on in my career, I signed up to these forums and groups and stuff where people post problems. People keep saying, okay, this is my problem, I can't fix it, what to do. I reached out to people, reached out and seeked different problems that I could solve, although it had nothing to do with me. Now two things happen, and I'm telling you this again, it's very, very important. Let's say you go out to her and you say, I have some free time, are you facing any difficulties? Now let's say she has a problem. She tells you. Now you don't know anything about that problem, right? You go and research, figure out, Google, look up, read books, ask somebody else and solve that problem, and you give that to her saying, this is the solution to the problem. Now two things are happening. First, your skill set and knowledge increased, because that's a problem that you didn't even know existed. And second thing, if you do it twice, the third time she has a problem, who's she going to go to? She's going to go to you. What that did is it also built leadership. So suddenly now you have a fan following behind you who say, you have a problem, go to her. She knows how to solve it. She may not know how to solve it, but she knows how to go find a solution for it. So solve as many problems as you can in your life. It's the best thing that you can do. It doesn't have to do with your KPIs, KRAs. Go seek problems and solve real problems, not just a puzzle on Zynga or Angry Bird challenge. That doesn't count for a problem, right? Solve real world problems. So that's really important. There is no shortcut to success. Okay, there really isn't a shortcut to success. 1% of us are blessed to be born with a silver spoon in the mouth, wherein either you're hereditarily inheriting wealth or you're born in a business family that's doing really well and you just need to run it, right? 1% of the entire population belongs to that group. The rest of us have to work our asses off. That's just the way it is. In my first job, okay, let me ask it the other way, right? Today on WhatsApp, if somebody sends you a video, how long does it take to download? Depending on the network connectivity, but I'm saying if you're connected to Wi-Fi or 3G, 10, 15 seconds, not more, right? So we today are used to having that level of things. I was born and I worked in an organization at the time where 512 kbps dial-up connection was there. Does anybody know what dial-up is? You had to dial up, it'll connect and then it'll join, and when you start Google, the progress bar will go like this. You have to wait for 10 minutes before which a page loads, right? We're all familiar with Pune. I used to stay in Chinchwad with my batchmates after passing out of engineering. The office was in Kothrood. I had a two-wheeler. I used to get up at 7:30, ride, come to office, work the whole day, 8:39 in the evening, wrap up, create a build. In software it's called a build, like an exe file or a installable. Our merchants were in overseas, so wrap it up, set it up for upload, because we had to deliver that product to the customer, which used to take 3.5 hours to 4 hours. Then we used to go down, have dinner, hit pool, whatever it is. Come back at 2:33, back, wait for that to finish, then draft an email saying it's done, check, whatever it is. Ride the two-wheeler back to Chinchwad, reach by about 4:30, and 7:30 I used to start again. That is what I did for 2 consecutive years. Third year it got better because we got a 1 Mbps line, so that time was cut short. But I did that every single day without fail. I was just talking to at the lunch table as well. Today my schedule is I get up at 6:30 in the morning. I finish my work, but I work India time zone because I'm based out of Sydney. So my real work starts at about 2:30. From 2:30 to night 1:32 I work. I sleep at 2:30. I get up at 6:30 and the day starts again. It has not changed. So there are no two ways to success. Work your ass off. There's an interesting story about Muhammad Ali and his practice. Does anybody know about that? Can you tell me what the story is? So I'll tell you what it is. He was training before a very important bout, I think, against Joe Fraser. And a journalist asked him, because this guy was continuously skipping, and the journalist asked him, how many times do you skip? No, and for how long? So he said, I don't count. He says, I don't count till it starts hurting. And when it starts hurting, that's when I start counting. Imagine the gravity of that statement. He keeps skipping till he's tired and it starts hurting, and when it starts hurting, that's when he starts counting to see how far can he go beyond that. That's hard work, and there are no two ways about it, and that's exactly what all of you will have to do day in, day out. I can tell you some examples from a software development point of view, but it applies pretty much same to all of you as well in your fields, whatever your fields are. You know, there are new technologies. You would hear this word C, Java, C++, .NET. You would have heard this, right? These are just technologies, and technologies keep evolving. Similarly, there is something called as JavaScript frameworks. You would have heard about it. Today, everything that you're seeing on the web is 99.99% JavaScript. 50% of your mobile apps are built in JavaScript. That's how big that thing is. Now, inside JavaScript, there are different frameworks like modules, right? And every day it keeps changing. There is a website that says time since last JavaScript framework. So basically, there is a website that tracks how many hours has it been since somebody launched a new JavaScript version. Imagine the pace with which stuff is changing. Now, why am I telling you this? Apart from what you're learning on a day-to-day basis, the other skill that you can really make a difference to you is teach yourself how to learn. Because that is, by the time you're out of the school, by the time you're in a workforce, things are changed. Today, you would hear data science, artificial intelligence, or blockchain. You would have heard all these terms, right? By the time you're in the workforce, something totally different will be there, right? So how do you adapt? How do you get used to it? There's not going to be any teacher or anybody else to tell you about this, or you cannot afford to go to coursewares or classes and get somebody to sit and explain to you. You have to learn to teach yourself. I taught myself software programming. I didn't know software programming. I taught myself product design, did courses, Pluralsight, Udemy. I guess all of you should know these sites, right? Khan Academy. These are great resources. Get yourself an account. Invest whatever, if the subscription costs you 1,500 rupees per month, pay it. It is the biggest investment that you guys will do, which is to teach yourself. There are certain skills that as you guys are business students, correct? You're learning business management and whatever. So you guys will go, and some of you will go and pick up really great jobs, go on to CTOs, CPOs, CSOs, CMOs, CEOs, whatever, right? And some of you will start your own companies. You'll start your own ventures. At some point of time, you will start investing in an idea or a thought process or solve a real problem that's going to make a difference. There are certain key skills. No matter what you do, you will need to have them. Product design, user experience, and wireframing. How many of you know what is user experience? of what? The ease, the simplicity, correct, the simplicity of going through step 1, 2, 3 to reach the end goal. That is user experience. How many of you are familiar with Apple products? If I use an iPhone or an iPad or a MacBook, my experience is exactly the same. It doesn't change. But if you work with Windows or Android, not that I'm against those platforms, they're great platforms, but it is very different. There is a reason and history to it, because Android is an open source, so a manufacturer can take Android and customize it the way he wants. With Apple products, you get a consistent user experience no matter which product you're using, right? That is user experience. So today, imagine fast forward 5 years, some of you go on to become CEO of Swiggy, let's say, hypothetically, right? You know what Swiggy is? Yeah, you become CEO of Swiggy. You're going to have to worry about how a user goes to Swiggy, what happens when he clicks on a button, what happens when he clicks on payment, can he just scan a barcode and pay? You know, all of these are important questions. That is part of user experience. Go to all those resources that I talked about, Khan Academy, Udemy, there are multiple, right? Plural site. Pick a course on product design. It may be a 4-day course of 2 hours each, pay for it, do it. Same thing with user experience and same thing with wireframing. You know what wireframing is? How many of you guys use whiteboard to discuss ideas? Whiteboard. No? There is no whiteboarding that happens? So you have a problem, you start talking, or when your professors teach you something, they use a board to explain, right? That's wireframing. So if I tell you, try and think of a product that helps citizens report potholes very easily to the government. Okay, let's say that's a problem statement. At some point of time, you're going to have to think about how the app will look, what will be the buttons, how will the person log in, right? So you will take a paper and you'll start drawing or sketching. That is wireframing. It is extremely crucial, especially for business students, because these are the kind of problems that you'll finally go and start tackling in the real world. One of the most important things, so I'm slightly moving into the area of becoming leaders, right? Initially, obviously, you will start working, get into the workforce, grow up the ladder. Some of you are natural born leaders. Some of you have to acquire that talent, that skill set to get into that position. The most important thing to do is produce original bodies of work. What it means is, if I have a blog wherein I'm posting something really important which people are reading or understanding, that's an original body of work, right? If I am, let's say I'm building a small clay model and I'm bringing it to my work desk, that's a body of work. You have to produce content. All of us have great ideas. How many of you use Twitter or Instagram? What do you do on that? So on Twitter, what do you guys do? Or on Instagram? I think more on Instagram, less on Twitter, right? Okay. Nothing wrong with it. It's perfectly fine. But when I go to Twitter, I look at industry leaders in my area and what they're doing, what are they talking about. So everybody's talking about something, that they're saying something, they have something interesting to say. You should have something interesting to say, do, or show as well, because that's your real body of work. If at the end of 5 years of work experience, if you come out and say, I was the senior project manager at Avendis, or I was the senior program manager at Cisco, that's not an achievement. That's just a fake title that has no value or no meaning to it. I never introduce myself as a CTO because it is pointless and meaningless. What's the point of that? On a day-to-day basis, I sit with my team, I do the same work that they do, I do it slightly lesser, they do it slightly harder, and I try to be of help there. So titles mean nothing. Really, what you need to focus on is produce original bodies of work. If you do not have an account on Medium, how many of you know Medium? You guys have probably forwarded this also to other people, some really interesting articles in this. It's called Medium. It's a blogging platform. Go get yourself an account on Medium. Start reading articles first. Within 5 to 10 minutes, you'll figure out that you can start posting. It may be really crap. Whatever you post may be really crap at the start, but start doing it slowly. Because when you start expressing ideas, that's when you really drive more traffic to yourself. again, like I said, some of you will really go and get into senior positions, have teams of 20, 30, 500 people reporting to you, managers, right? There are certain things that I am very passionate about. In my team, we have certain rules, or what I call them as ethics and empathy, right? If we are talking about a very controversial topic, let's say we have somebody feels that I have to do it this way and somebody else feels I have to do it this way, everybody has to fight to get their idea expressed, no matter what it is, no matter who it is. Even if it is somebody who is reporting to me, they have to fight. Don't stop arguing, fight as much as you can to express your ideas, talk about pros, cons, everything. But once you're done, and once a decision is taken, whether it was my idea that was accepted or whether it is your idea that was accepted, everybody falls in line. Because then, only then will that idea get executed. Otherwise, what will happen is, she will say, oh, it's not my idea, so I'll try and sabotage it, or I'll try and create hurdles for that. That doesn't work on my team. You fight for your idea, make valid arguments, let's talk about it, let's discuss. But at the end of the day, once a decision is taken, soldier falls in line. Armies work on that way. For those of you who are interested, go to Google, type Colin Powell. You know Colin Powell, right? And 18 lessons in leadership. They are so profound and they are so hard hitting. It's brilliant. One of that is soldier falls in line, and I have adopted from him. Okay. You will become managers, okay? You will become managers, you will become leaders. There will be people who will be working under you, as reporting to you and stuff. One principle that you should have in your life is criticize in private, praise in public. It is, if you follow this, believe me, the kind of loyalty that you will get from the employees is unparalleled. No matter how wrong the person messes up, screws up, 50% of revenue gets hit, fine. Do not criticize in a public forum. I'll document this and I'll probably share it with Jeff to be shared with you, but you will realize this when you face it. When somebody criticizes you in a team setting, when you start working, the way you feel, your motivation goes for a toss. Praise in public. So these are great lessons for you to start taking into your, whenever you enter the workforce. Positivity is a force multiplier. I'll give you an example. I was playing cricket in my college. We were playing against a team where they had 7 wickets. How many of you understand cricket? Some part, right? Okay. So they had 7 wickets in hand and they needed some 20 runs or something and lots of overs. My captain, who was the captain, Deepak guy, he just left it. He said, "Kuch nahi hone wala hai, jaane do." Okay. I said, "Okay, if you have left it, do you mind if I try something?" He said, "Haan, jo karna hai kar le." So I had a bowler in the team whose morale was not very good because he always used to bowl wide balls. And he had this trick where I was the keeper. So I had this signal. If I do this, he has to bowl the wrong one. As in, instead of a off spin, he has to bowl a leg spin. He has to bowl the wrong one. So I called him. I said, "Okay, you take." And he's like, "Ye match 1 over mein khatam ho jayega. It'll get done faster than it should." I said, "Go for it." So first ball, he took the run up. I signaled and he was like, "First ball." So wrong one. Second ball, wrong one. Fourth ball. In his 2 over spell, he took 4 wickets. Just based on confidence. I told him, "You go for it. We'll do it." The atmosphere on the field changed. A guy in the slips who was with his shoulders slouched and stuff was like, let's do it, we can do it, we can make it happen and stuff. The captain who had given up, suddenly like, "Okay, come here," adjusting the field. The energy changed. Okay, it might have not happened. That might still not have happened, right? We still lost the game, by the way. What I'm saying is that when and you probably have friends like that who, when you're around them, you feel energized, right? Think about it. If you have that as part of your characteristics, how motivated the team around you is going to be. Every day that I enter the office, even here today, I have a development team sitting out of Pune. When I enter the office, my first gesture is, what can we do? Right? It is about creating that energy, that enthusiasm that we're going to do something, we're going to make a difference to it, right? It changes things. A person who's having a bad day at work is suddenly going to turn around saying, okay, aaj kuch karte hain. It is very, very important to have that. And everyone's time smarter. This is another one which is very important for me. Just because my title is CTO doesn't mean that my time is more important than a junior developer. No. If he schedules a meeting at 3 o'clock, I'm going to be there at 3 o'clock. I'm not going to saunter in at 3:10, 3:15, 3:20 just because I'm a CTO. Titles are absolutely pointless. I'm repeating this. So remember this. Punctuality and time is extremely critical. I went to US in 2003, I think, on my first trip. And I got somebody called me and said, okay, let's meet here and whatever it is. And let's meet at 3:17. How many of you have heard, let's meet at 3:17 or 2:23? How do we schedule time here? Around 5 we'll meet. 5 बजे के आसपास मिलते हैं. Correct? And that 5 बजे के आसपास होता है क्या 5 बजे के आसपास? What happens to that? 5:30, 6, 7, we all have those friends saying, this guy will always walk in late. No, we have that, right? It has to change. If you want to be in a professional environment and make a freaking difference to your environment, you have to learn great things. And when I heard, let's meet at 3:17, I was like, 3:17? Who gives 3:17 as a time? But they are so crazy about punctuality and their time that they value their own time and they value everybody else's time. So this is really something that changed my life as well. This is a small picture from cycling. How many of you follow cycling or understand cycling? Tour de France? Do you follow Tour de France? It's a professional, it's the pinnacle of cycling. It's a team sport, professional cycling. It's a big competition. Anyways, how many of you understand cycling? No? You do? Okay. This is a team. They're all members of one team, and like this team, there are multiple teams that compete in professional races. Can you take a look at this and tell me who's the leader in that team? At that speed, the air resistance coming from the front is very, very hard. The guy in the front is called as the taskmaster. He's the one who basically takes the full brunt. The guy behind him spends 70% less energy, and so on and so on and so on and so on. So the guy who's at the last of this trail, who is the sprinter of the group, will come out 100 meters before the race from behind, and all of these people will fall back. So his energy is conserved till 100 meters in a race of almost 120 kilometers. They ride for the whole day in Tour de France. Whole day they ride, and till 100 meters that leader is protected. What does this mean? It signifies teamwork, right? All those guys are sacrificing the whole day, 171.8 kilometers, for that 100 meters where their leader will come out and finally go ahead, right? Team is like that, company is like that. And sometimes that guy will have to be in the front, working hard for somebody else. And that's what leadership is about. That's what teamwork is about. Getting those people together to be able to do that for you. And that requires a lot of hard work and what I've been talking about so far. I've already covered this, right? Fancy titles mean nothing. I told you about how I started. After Neilsoft, I went to Singapore. I worked out of Singapore Autodesk for 8 years. I was just a software engineering manager. When I moved to a startup, which is where I'm working right now, Mobicon, the previous CTO left. The CEO asked me, do you mind taking over? I said yes. That's how I became a CTO. I was not promoted to become a CTO because I showed some stellar example of whatever it is. I just happened to be in the right place, right time. But I also was there taking a lot of initiatives, solving a lot of problems in other departments, divisions, which had nothing to do with me. And that caught the attention of the CEO, right? So today, when I identify myself, I think of myself as a problem solver. I think of myself as a person who has to take care of a team, protect them from crap that is coming from everywhere else so that they can get on with their job. That's my job, an enabler. I'm not the CTO. So titles don't mean anything. If you ever get attached to titles, you will end up losing your identity and you'll introduce yourself as, I am the CEO of this, I am this. No, you're a human being who has real core values and characteristics which are more important. So remember that. How many of us use WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram? I'm not going to talk about controversial apps like Tinder and stuff, but we have all these tools, right? The first mentor that I had, how many of you have used Notepad? Notepad on Windows. Notepad, the program where you take notes, right? If you compare Notepad to Word, which is more powerful? Easy answer, right? Word. Now, if I tell you to create a document with bold letters, this, that, fancy graphics and stuff in Word, you will be able to do it, right? If I ask you to do it in Notepad, will you be able to do it? You can't, right? Because that tool is limited. Now, here's a trait of really great leaders. Whatever tools you have, whatever limited tools you have, great leaders, they use it to the best of its ability. The technical lead who I had on my team, who I learned from, we have another tool like that called TextPad. Similar to Notepad, it's TextPad. He could do everything that a developer could do in a full-blown suite of products just using TextPad. And he used to challenge. He used to come to other people and say, okay, you can do this, I'll do this in TextPad and I'll show you. He had that attitude, right? But very limited tools, use it to the fullest. I have the chief marketing officer of my organization, Anuj, who's now, he started his own startup fund and all, uses Facebook like none of us use Facebook. He uses Facebook to its best ability, networks with the right people, connects with the right people, follows the right people. He's not into flicking and looking at a video of a laughing baby and none of that, right? So when I saw that I'm against Facebook, as in not against Facebook, but I'm not such a big fan of Facebook. I deleted my app in 2015. I haven't logged in since then, right? Just a massive distraction for me. So when I met him, I asked him, dude, I always see you on Facebook and sharing and connecting and stuff. So he opened it and he showed me maximum network that he has built. Today he sits with who's who in Singapore with the investment bankers, high profile CEOs, CTOs and stuff. And he has only used Facebook to connect with them. He says any tool that you have, if you use it the right way, is going to help you. If you open Facebook and if that consumes 70% of your time by flicking across videos, I'm telling you, you're wasting away your life. And it's fine. I think you guys are still in college. It's going to happen. But as you come out, remember this. The limited set of tools that we have today, that you guys have today, if it's used in the right way, will really make a difference. If it's used in the wrong way, you're just going to end up wasting time. Well, that's it from my side. I had been asked 15 minutes to be left for Q&A. I have this blog. I've recently started it. I've posted a couple of it. If any one of you is interested, you can look up. And I think with Jay as well, if there's anybody who wants to connect and have offline discussion or any open Q&A after this as well, I'm more than happy. I'm here till end of this week. But yeah, we are living in the digital world, so we can connect anytime.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Sugam. My question to you is, sir, I read encyclopedias online, like Britannic encyclopedias. So, what according to you is more important, that is bookish knowledge or the knowledge we gain outside the books, that is from encyclopedias and blogs?
Good question. I was 7 years old, 8 years old. There was a movie theater in the city that I was born that had shut down. Okay, I think in my 5th or 6th grade, I think, and there was a movie theater that had shut down. I had recently learned about convex and concave lenses. All of you would have learned about this in your school, correct? And you can calculate the focal point of a convex and concave lens, correct? Right. When I heard that the movie theater had closed, I went into the movie theater. There were some workers there. I said, give me some old reels that you have of the movies. So they gave me some old movie reels and stuff. I came home, got a cardboard box, got a lamp, put it on a small piece, went to the local lab that used to supply equipment to the school, got a concave and a convex lens, measured the focal points, got an old white towel from Mama, stuck it on the wall, used 2 motors, simple motors, for Ganesh Chaturthi, that thing, the motor that keeps running behind. I stole that from Dad. I didn't tell him. I got two motors like that. I put one motor at the bottom, one at the top, and I made the reel go faster. Of course, nobody told me that the rate has to be 24 frames per second, which I later found out. But I did that, and I charged all the kids around my neighborhood 2 rupees to watch a movie, right? Why am I telling you this? The reason why I'm telling you this is, in the bookish knowledge, I learned about concave and convex lenses, but I applied it. You have to do that. You can read as many encyclopedias as you want, but if you don't apply it, you'll never learn. Let me tell you, the maximum number of electric shocks I have got was when I was doing that projector. I was so stupid that I got an aluminium alloy knife, which I used to, inside the bulb holder, there are those 2 points that give. One of them had bent, so I put the knife in there and I tried to move, went like that, right? I learned that aluminum is not a good conductor of electricity, but an aluminium alloy knife will still conduct electricity. I had learned that in school. I didn't know it. I applied it and I found out. I have done a lot of experiments as a kid. I have almost burnt the house down and got massively punished by dad for doing that, but I applied what I learned. Even today, if I find an idea on TED, I'll go and I'll try it out. So bookish knowledge is important, but it's worthless if you don't apply it.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Fakhruddin. Sir, as you mentioned that questioning the situation. Sir, in our life, whom we question the situation, sir? The creator of the situation, or or ourselves, sir?
Good, very good question. If you question the creator, you've already lost the battle, because you're looking to blame. What's the point of questioning the creator? He's going to get defensive. Whoever it is, whether it's the system or the government or your manager or your parents, whoever it is that you question, if you question the person, you have lost the battle, because that person is going to get defensive. How do humans work? If I ask you, why is this chair broken? And let's say she was supposed to be in charge of this thing. She's always going to get defensive. She's going to say, somebody broke it while transporting, whatever, XYZ, right? But if you question, why did this happen? And how can this not happen again? You will probably figure out that the trolley that is used to wheel that chair is probably broken, or there is a bump in the middle of the road which causes the jam or jostling, and that breaks it. So always question why, not whom.
Sir, sometimes it's happened that the situation is not in our control. So, sir, at that time, what should we have to do? We have to just ignore the situation, or to just find out the solutions for the situation?
Good question. Give it the best shot. Don't give up easily. Give it the best shot, right? That's why I spoke about Muhammad Ali. He gave it the best shot and then stopped, right? So there is this anecdote, again, you guys would have heard, right? Problems or unsolved issues are like rocks. Let's say you have a backpack. A problem which you don't solve is like a rock. You put it in the backpack and you keep running. Now, over a period of time, that backpack is going to get heavy. You're going to get slower and slower. So the art of living life, apart from in a professional organization, is ability to ignore certain things that you cannot help beyond a certain point of time. That's the only way. Otherwise, you'll not make progress. So solve the problems that you can. Give it the best shot. Don't give up easily. But some things that you really cannot do, say, this is out of my backpack.
Okay, sir. Sir, to find out the mentor is also the very hard task. So, sir, how to do that, sir?
Keep asking. Get 4 or 5 mentors. Get 6 mentors. And like I said, if you don't approach it from a professional point of view, where you have a one-to-one meeting, you have some agenda, ask questions, and if you feel that you're not learning, find another mentor. There's another thing which I tell my team, and my CEO finds it very, very crazy, but I say this to my team. Of course, it may not apply to you, but I tell my team, every 6 months, open your resume. Just open your resume and click the edit button. Now, if you don't have either a skill set or an achievement to add into your resume, so skill set has to be a tangible, like learned a new tool or a program or whatever, right? It's a tangible thing. And achievement, I don't want to disappoint all of you, but best employee of Mobicon is a bullshit achievement. It means nothing. Star performer of Cisco, it means nothing. That is just an certificate that the company gave you to make you feel good. What's a real achievement? Reduced expenditure by 20% by implementing a world-class process. That's an achievement. You made a difference to the organization, right? Or increased efficiency by 75% by implementing an SAP system or something. But something that's a real good achievement. Now, if you don't have an achievement or a skill set to add to your resume every 6 months, then there are only two possibilities. One is you're in the wrong job. But a bigger problem is you're doing your current job wrongly, and that's a big problem. Remember this. As you enter the workforce, remember this. Edit 6 months, if you don't have those two things, one of the thing is wrong. Either you're in the wrong place, which I don't think is the case most of the times. It's the second, which is you're doing your job wrongly. Get up and change something about your job.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Very good afternoon, sir. My name is Sujoy Chakravarti. I have a question that, as you have mentioned that you can get a mentor from using LinkedIn. So, sir, I can make my mentor my parents, my teachers, my friends, because I trust them, I know them. So, in LinkedIn, a person whom I don't know, how can I trust him and how can I be sure that he will give me the best answer of my question?
Have you heard the statement that trust is earned and not just like, you don't get trust just like that, right? And even in your family, if you think about it, you may have a extended family, lot of siblings and stuff. There are only very few that you really would trust with just deep, darkest secrets, right? Why is that? Because connections are built like that. And if you how do I say it? If you want to succeed in your career, even in your life, you will have to learn to trust people. And that's not going to happen from the day one. Like, it's not like she asked me whether I can be her mentor, and she's like, from today onwards, my entire career is in your hands. Nobody does that, right? But over a period of time, if certain actions happen where I prove to her that I'm really making a difference to her career, I'm helping her out when she really needs something, I'm there to sort of advise and stuff, that trust is earned. So yes, you can ask your family members and stuff, but then you're limiting your audience. I would say at this point in juncture in all your careers, you have to broaden your horizons, reach out to as many people. 5 people may not work out, 6th person may work out, and you learn something from him.
So in LinkedIn, how does it be like that we have to connect with them? And
so there's a setting that says I'm looking for career advice, switch it to on.
got it. Thank you.
Great, I guess we're done. Bang on time, 3 o'clock. Thank you guys, that was really interesting, good questions, and hopefully I get to see you guys again, or maybe in the workforce.